So nothing like. Especially she's so young too. That's the really depressing part of all this. She's maybe 24. Super young to have this problem. So hopefully it's not as bad as it sounds.
I mean, she has been wrestling since she was like
something like that. Yeah.
You know, so she's been wrestling for 10 years already. You know, and all the bumps and bruises and all the undiagnosed things that she's gone. That, you know, who knows what she's already been through. Damn, that'd be really crappy to see her career end before she even hits 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that you know, it's a sad thing, but you know, once again, when you start wrestling at the age that she did, it's just like anybody else who started later. She's just getting these injuries, you know, earlier in life because she started so young, and you know, of course, we know, you know, her family and their history in England, but you know, I don't think they wrestled completely as protected as I think, you know, she does now, or she's supposed to now. You know, they did a lot of things that, you know, put her at danger. Not saying her family did it on purpose, it's just the way life is, you know, the way they did it, you know, not blaming anybody for anything. It's just, you know, it's difficult to, you know, protect yourself when you're busy trying to make money and you're small. You know, I just heard Ricochet on, I think it was Jim Ross's podcast, talking about the fact that, you know, he knew at one time that, you know, he was great and he was doing all these awesome things, but later in life he figured out, hey man, I did way too much. You know, I'm giving away too much when I don't need to. And I think, you know, these wrestlers learn that a little bit later in life, and I think Paige may have given away a lot of great things because, you know, she was taking so many bumps and maybe some nasty ones, and now she's paying for it, and she's still so young. So I feel terrible for, you know, this to happen for anybody, but I hope she can get back in there. This is not fun. Nerve damage is the most critical, you know, of your whole entire career. You know, that's something that'll shut you down really quick.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. Do you feel like, you know, if WB, you know, says, I'm sorry, Paige, you got to quit, do you think that there would be a possibility that she may even take the risk and move on? Or do you think that she would try to stick with WWE in a different format? Because we see Daniel Bryan leave because of injury. Do you think they would keep Paige around, maybe to do Total Divas, maybe to even do some hosting, interviewing, things like that?
I don't know about her as an interviewer or anything like that. I would be completely okay with her being like a manager or something like that. I feel like she could add a lot to the table. She could also be a trainer too. I mean, she's like Sean was saying, like she's been around the business already 10 years and she's already so young. So there's something she could add to the table there too.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about, you know, we're talking about, you know, young stars and things like that. Let's talk about NXT. NXT is about to go on a tour of Australia and New Zealand. And this is awesome for them because, you know, the fact that they're getting notoriety worldwide now. People are starting to really get into it. I think that this is a really cool thing, too, for some of these young superstars to really get used to these kind of tours, because when they join the main roster, it's going to be something they're going to have to do on a semi-regular basis. But not only that, it's kind of cool to get this brand out there to other parts of the world. That way that maybe they'll latch onto it if they've never seen it before. Maybe this convinces people to really get into it. I mean, what do you think about this tour, Sean? I mean, do you think it's a smart idea?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them already do 2 UK tours. We've seen them expand in other areas as far as where they go, and they're going to Canada this year. I mean, so why not? WWE's doing their New Zealand tour, their Australia tour right now, and I think that's cool that following them at some point, either in this year or next year, they'll get to go to New Zealand and Australia as well. I mean, that's pretty awesome that NXT gets to do that.
Yeah, I agree completely. Any traveling for NXT is great. Anything you can do to simulate as much life on the main roster as possible is going to work out the best interest for these young superstars. And of course, if you have them on these tours, worldwide fame is also a nice little perk there. You get to wrestle all over the world. So
yeah,
something.
I mean, you do have 3 female talents from there.
True.
That that you can have in matches, and I don't know if they have a male talent on there right now.
Not that I'm aware
Not
of.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, TM61.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, you have some talent you can showcase there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. There's plenty of it. I mean, it's just one of those things that I think is just completely cool, and I think especially for these people that in Australia, New Zealand, it's their opportunity to finally get the chance to see these superstars up close, because they get to see the guys from Raw, SmackDown in a more regular basis than they do anything like NXT, and this is something super awesome for them. So looking forward to that. Let's talk about something else that could be super awesome. I know, Paul, you're really looking forward to this. WWN actually announced More Than Mania weekend and that entire schedule, going between March 30th and April 2nd. Kind of give us a rundown on some of this awesome stuff that we're going to be seeing, Paul.
Yeah, this is the indie stuff that I went to this last year for WrestleMania during the weekend. Obviously, it was much smaller because they have since added promotions. So they added an extra day too. Now it's Thursday through Sunday instead of Friday through Sunday. Thursday you have the First Evolve show, and that's it. Friday you have Progress Wrestling, which is from UK, which is where guys like Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Marty Scurll, the list goes on and on of these big names that have started to come out of there. You have Evolve at 4, you have Chikara at 8, and you have Kaiju Big Battle at midnight. And then on Saturday, Shimmer at noon, Chikara at 4, the WWN Super Show Mercury Rising at 8, which is featuring Progress versus Evolve talent. And then you have Beyond Wrestling at midnight, which is a mid-size indie out of Rhode Island that's actually gotten a lot of fame on the internet, or infamy, I guess, because that is the Powerbomb video that became so famous earlier this year with Kimberly and everything was from there. And then you have the tailgate party before WrestleMania on Sunday. So this is a really cool deal. Tickets go on sale on the 22nd of August. I'm really thinking about going.
Oh man, it looks awesome. It really does, and I would not blame you for going and checking that out. That is totally cool. Sean, I mean, this is something that I know you did not get a chance to go to as many as you wanted to and do these type of things last WrestleMania. But, I mean, just looking at this, I mean, it makes me excited. I really kind of wish I could go.
Oh, certainly. I mean, it being in only 4 hours away from me helps that I would want to go. This is certainly a reason to go, aside from going to WrestleMania and NXT and all that. Just don't know if I'm going to have the money to be able to make it this year, but the not having to travel part like I did last year certainly helps. Just depends on where I'm at, and I already know I got to fix a ton of crap on my car, so I don't know how much money I'm going to have available. But, if this is all Paul winds up doing, I don't mind renting car and making the trip up there to go see shows like this that cost a lot less.
Yeah.
Because, WrestleMania NXT very expensive.
Yeah, it can be.
Very true.
But and very difficult to get tickets for. But
it's also, something that you can watch live in your hotel on the network, but then you can go enjoy these shows as well. So it's still participating in WrestleMania weekend. You're just in your hotel watching the shows when they're there, but you can do everything else around it. So that's what's cool about this.
Exactly. I definitely agree. I'm looking forward to seeing what else, is going to be taking place. But this is a great schedule, and for anybody who's heading out to WrestleMania 33, you definitely need to jot these dates down. Consider buying some tickets, because trust me, once the ball gets rolling, you're going to wish you went ahead and bought tickets early, because I remember last year at WrestleMania, tickets were going off the shelf, and you couldn't get them. NXT, I think, sold out in minutes, and so some of these other indie shows may not sell out as fast, but don't be surprised if they do. Let's go ahead and talk about something else that's kind of interesting. We've all been following Will Ospreay, because guess what? He's one of the biggest indie darlings to go right now. Everybody's talking about him. He's actually going to be joining forces with Ring of Honor when they go on their UK tour. Now, this is cool enough to know that, he's not only big, when it comes to all these wrestling promotions, but big enough that Ring of Honor has offered him a deal. Do you think that there's a possibility we could ever see that happen, where Will Ospreay would say, sure, I want to deal with Ring of Honor, or do you think that this is a guy that still wants to have his freedom? Because, I think he's been offered a lot of contracts, a lot of different places, but we've yet to see him, really get down and dirty with one of these bigger promotions?
This is a really interesting thing. So internationally, Will Ospreay has a deal with New Japan. He works their schedule, obviously, whenever they require him. I don't know what kind of deals he has in the UK, but he's working Progress right now. I think he's still working Rev Pro. He's working a couple other promotions there. He's still working some indies here in the States, like he's going to be a PWG, the Bola tournament, and all that good stuff. Evolve and WWN offered him a deal during the Paul Heyman one night, one man only show thing that he did, where he was offered a deal from them on stage and everything. It was this big deal. I think we talked about it on this show. And now apparently Ring of Honor is offering him a deal too. And the only thing I can see, obviously it would lock him out of doing other things. He could still work PWG with ROH, obviously. They had that deal set. But the New Japan thing, the CMLL thing that we're going to talk about later too, there's that triangle of promotions there who have sort of teamed up, and that's not a deal that I think you can easily walk away from, especially because I think Ring of Honor is probably in a position to offer you a lot more money than Evolve and WWN are.
Certainly, and obviously depends if WWE would want to kick in any money to try to have him there, so that when those year and a half comes up, maybe you already have that door open. Mm-hmm. He's been very guarded about saying whether he's signed with ROH or Evolve. So he's obviously got his heart. It's kind of tugging at him as to which one to sign with. That could be one of those things he holds off on for a while and still does this tour. Mm-hmm. He's still not doing the Death Before Dishonor stuff or anything like that. They didn't make him come down for that, or he didn't have a match set for that. So, that kind of tells you things. It'll be interesting to see if he actually signs with ROH or if he winds up signing the deal with Evolve. So,
yeah.
Obviously New Japan is going to want him to stay away from Evolve, because I'm sure that they know by now that that's some kind of feeder system for for NXT and WWE at this point. But he has that option.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it very interesting. I didn't mean to slight New Japan at all. New Japan's is a big company. Trust me, it's one of the biggest ones going in wrestling right now. I just really meant with one like Ring of Honor, who's going to hold on to you a lot longer. New Japan's amazing because you can come in for shots and be gone. You're not stuck there for a long period of time. Places like Ring of Honor, things like that, you may get stuck there for a little longer. You're having to abide by a lot more dates that are kind of, not as spread out as New Japan, and gives you the opportunity to go wrestle everywhere else. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think he has some sights and some goals in mind, and he's not maybe letting those all be known. As we're seeing a lot of wrestlers now. We're hearing like Kota Ibushi has his own list of things he wants done. Cody Rhodes, of course, had an actual written list of things he wanted to do while he was not with WWE. We're just seeing tons of these guys that are considered some of the biggest names in wrestling right now that are not associated with WWE, and their goals and some of the things they want to do. So they're not getting tied down to some of these bigger promotions on purpose because they want that freedom. So I don't blame him. I don't blame Will Ospreay. He's doing great without signing a huge deal. It's good, Let's talk about something else that's kind of interesting before we jump into some rapid hits here, guys. I want to kind of talk about this because it's kind of tying into what we've talked about in the recent past, and that is more lawsuits against WWE. Now, we've talked about the concussion lawsuit with WWE. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Buff Bagwell is, basically suing WWE in a class action lawsuit for royalties. This is something we've heard before. Buff Bagwell and some other wrestlers have actually, considered doing this. But really, this revolves around the network a lot. Once again, He says that, of course, WCW, all their content is on the network, which involves a lot of Buff Bagwell. He says he's not getting those royalties. He's not getting enough from what WB, of course, shows on their network. He feels like he's owed a lot more. Paul, looking at this, I mean, do you think he has a case at all? Personally, I don't really feel he does. I mean, because they've paid him some money for these royalties, but I guess it's not enough.
It sounds like he might, and there's a lot of, I don't want to say double talk, but there's a lot of different things involved here. So Buff's contract that he signed, his specifically, is the only one that's really gotten into in the article that we have here. He signed with WWE, and it entailed a clause that pretty much retained everything that it had going for him in WCW. But apparently the contract that he signed was for a reboot of WCW that Vince was going to do and keep it separate and running all on its own. And that never happened. I think, and if that's the only contract he has, then he's toast. Because obviously that means you have no rights to pretty much anything that you have going post your signing there. And whatever you've gotten from the network so far is just what you're going to get. If it's the other way around, then this could be a huge deal because suddenly the network is treated like pay-per-view and you have to start paying not only older talent, but newer talent, all these other things involved with what you had to do on pay-per-view.
What do you think, Sean?
Yeah. This is one of those things. I think this is going to be one of those, like Paul said, this is going to be toast really quick. If he really signed a WCW Inc. deal, which, conveniently enough never happened after a Buff Bagwell Booker T match. So Buff Bagwell did himself in. But, this is one of those things. There's going to have to be, just like the concussion thing, it's going to have to be a bunch of wrestlers deciding to go after WWE for the network royalties, and it's going to have to be guys that were actually signed to WWE and actually spent some time in WWE, not a guy that spent, I think, like, not even 3 months with WWE.
9 weeks.
Yeah, so it's just absolutely silly. I get what he's doing. Like, dude, apparently, I'm guessing being a gigolo doesn't make you all that money, but he wants some extra money. I don't blame him for going after it, but this might cost you more in court fees than considering it.
I mean, you can go by the wording of the contract. You can go by a lot of things, but you guys have hit the nail on the head. I really feel like you'd have to be a lot of guys, kind of like the concussion lawsuit. You'd have to be a lot involved in the actual verbiage of the contract, what lawyers can spend what. I mean, if they get some really good lawyers involved, they may find a way to get this thing to happen, but I don't see it. WWE has some of the best lawyers, of course, like major, corporations. They're hard to beat, very hard to beat. And if you got a good, case against them, they put it in court so long that you don't even want to stay involved because you can't afford your lawyer for 25 years. They tie it up in that much litigation. So, I mean, I think Buff Bagwell, may feel he has a case. Heck, you could possibly try to see it his way. I just don't know if he's doing anything smart with it. I just don't feel like he's going to get anything out of this, and I personally feel like it's a waste of his time. I get being bitter. I get being upset. But heck, I mean, be mad at Hurricane Helms. I mean, that's who he blames for, his end of his WB career anyway, right? So why be mad at WB? Sue Hurricane Helms. How about that? Shane Helms, what are you going to call him? Let's move on to some rapid hits, though, guys. Enough talk about the Gigolo. He's awesome. Let's move on and talk about the fact that now this is officially, CMLL has announced that they are now partnering up with Ring of Honor, which we've heard about, we've talked about on here before, but now it's actually out there. People know about it. What do you guys think?
I mean, we sort of assumed this back whenever they announced the Buka Jr. or something like that. The first guy they announced for for the series of shows in ROH that it pretty much looked like they had a working deal in place. And now we have confirmation, and they're sending the guy who's been teaming with the Young Lions New Japan sent over recently. Is it Dragon Rojo, I think?
Well, they're sending Dragon Lee for sure.
Right, that's it. Dragon Lee. And then Matt Taven is going down there in September. So it's kind of cool. And then there's teasing an idea of a CMLL New Japan ROH Super Show at Arena Mexico, which that could be a big deal, a real big deal.
Put that on iPay-per-view, please.
Yeah, you can make some money.
I don't know about Matt Taven going down to CMLL, but it is what it is.
This is a good deal. I think this is going to be awesome. I mean, Ring of Honor working with New Japan's been great. CMLL is going to be a great partnership too. I mean, it's just going to all work out. We talked about it in the past. Some of these pay-per-views that have all three promotions working together, it makes all the sense in the world. It really does. Something else that's going on in the world of wrestling, TNA may be losing one of their foreign TV deals. That's right. Their deal with India is in danger because of a merger. Sony 6 and has actually come in contact with the 10 network, and so that is a situation that could possibly break down to TNA no longer being in India. I think that's probably a bummer for a lot of those people, especially in TNA, because India has been such a big, supporter of them.
Yeah, and the foreign deals is where they're making a good deal of their money right now too. I believe last we heard. So this could be a really big deal if they lose the thing. Like maybe I don't want to say final nail in the coffin because we keep saying everything that happens to him is a final nail in the coffin, but this could be a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean this is it's a big. It's possible that none of this happens because they could just run as two separate networks, like they have been anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if Sony 6 decides to merge with 10, usually WWE has like exclusive rights with whoever it is, and WWE has the rights with Sony, along with the Champions League and a few other things. And Sony may decide, okay, there's going to be only one wrestling show, and obviously it would be WWE,
mm-hmm.
and TNA might be SOL.
Mm-hmm.
Also, TNA has yet to fulfill their obligation of a India tour, which that's part of the deal there. And the India money, like Paul already stated, is the big contract that is sort of helping them stay afloat and have money. So you lose that, there's other dominoes that could fall there.
Yeah, very true. And I hate that this could happen. Now I'm in hopes that it won't, because TNA, they've done a lot of great things lately. They really have, and they've actually been something that I was hoping that they would be, and that's entertaining. So, I mean, looking at this, it's a bummer if this does happen because it's a big financial hit. But, at the end of the day, I mean, they've got to find their own way out of the hole. And if this does happen, hopefully they can do that. Let's talk about CM Punk. Yeah, I can't believe it. We're talking about CM Punk? What? I mean, he's in UFC now. Well, it's not about the fact that he's doing it in the world of wrestling, but what's cool is that, on Monday nights he'll be back on TV, but it's not on Monday Night Raw. It's going to be on Fox Sports 1. That's right. FS1 is going to have a show airing all about CM Punk's training leading up to UFC 203. So this is kind of a interesting thing because we've seen and heard a lot about what's going on with CM Punk and trying to overcome injuries, trying to get ready for this first fight that he's going to be debuting in UFC. But now you're actually going to get to visually see everything he's doing to get ready for the fight, see him spar, see him talk about his feelings about what's going on, blah blah blah. This is really cool. I'm glad they're doing this. What do you think?
Yeah, this is really cool, I think, for Punk. This is really cool to see. Hopefully this can generate a lot of interest. I think a lot of people are going to tune in to see him get beat, though, and I don't think they're going to be disappointed.
Wow, early predictions. I like that. What do you think, Sean?
Well, I mean, it's been a very consistent prediction with all of us. I think we've all kind of said that. It's just, it's hard to think that he's going to be able to beat a Mickey Gall that has been doing it for a bit longer than him and has some wins on his resume.
Wow.
Just the honest truth,
I'm just saying, who knows? Maybe it'll work. Just saying.
Could be.
I'm just saying, a big name like CM Punk. I mean, Brock.
So are you saying the Brock was a work then?
There could be a possibility, or it could just be, they couldn't get the drug test in time to say no, you can't wrestle or fight Brock. Sorry, very interesting the way things work out over there. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist when it comes to UFC, but I could see it happening. Because CM Punk losing that first match, are they really going to make any big bucks off him after that? I don't see it. I'm not buying a CM Punk pay-per-view. If he loses his debut match, he can't even beat the first guy he's facing off against. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, but he could come out, like you said, it could all be a work. He could come out and be like an MMA god, for all we know.
He could. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that in actuality, I believe that CM Punk's going to be ready. It's kind of funny to me. He's already had injury issues. He's already had some of this other stuff kind of slowing him down, and I don't know. I just don't believe in him. I love the guy to death because of just he entertains me, but outside of that, I don't know if he's ready for this world of actual MMA fighting, taking away the whole work conspiracy theory, So, but it's cool. I'm excited about seeing this show on Mondays. I have to be on my DVR if I can fit it in. But other than that, we'll see. All right, guys. Well, we are going to head on over and actually get into some talks about some shows we watched this past week. That's right. We've got a couple, or actually more than a couple. We've got 4 shows we're going to get into tonight. Don't forget, we are still going to talk Cruiserweight Classic. We're also going to get into some TNA plus the G1 Climax. But before we do all that, we are going to talk some NXT, guys. We'll be right back with that next.
I should note that I think for Frontier might be part of it, but they do have an app you can buy. You can not buy. You can get called Fox or FS Go, and that might be something they could put on that app. It's only on your phone, but just in case you couldn't fit it on your DVR, you could watch it that way.
Oh, thank you. So. I'll have to check that out because I definitely want to see it. Like I said, I've always liked CM Punk. I'm not a hater of him. I'm not really looking forward to that fight because I kind of have a feeling you guys are right. He's going to lose. So.
I mean, a lot of people were saying Brock was going to lose too. So you never know. You never know. But we move on to actual current talent that is involved in wrestling right now. The developmental talent, quote unquote. In fact, Bobby Roode and Austin Aries do not have matches for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. So part of this show is spent with them being a little bit upset about the fact that they don't have matches. Now Bobby Roode is just kind of really coy about it. He goes out there basically makes his own match with Andrade Cien Almas after Andrade basically squashes Angelo Dawkins. I actually really enjoy Angelo Dawkins. I've seen him live a couple times. He's actually a big dude. He's a big dude, and he's actually pretty athletic for being a big dude. Just never looks like he gets to go anywhere. It also doesn't help that they just keep restocking NXT with talent that's clearly better than him, so he kind of just doesn't get to get out of there. But Austin Aries also goes to talk to William Regal about how crappy it is that, would you do this to any kind of other star that you don't have Austin Aries on the takeover? And so it's him and No Way Jose, as you'd expect. But what do you guys think of these two finishing out the card for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn officially with Roode Almas and the expected Aries No Way Jose.
I want to touch on Angelo Dawkins here because every time I've seen him, no matter what the gimmick, like earlier he had, earlier, last year before last, he had that silly backpack gimmick where he came out. And then has this one now where he's like the LeBron James of wrestling almost. And there's a character in here waiting to break out. And I think he's got enough talent to get over. So, I mean, it still puzzles me how they haven't given this at the time of day. But Rude Almas should be good. I'm still waiting. Cien needs more character development because he's really flat right now. And when he came out on this episode of NXT, nobody cared.
He's Apollo Crews too.
Yeah.
He's just
really sad.
A guy doing moves, and because he doesn't have a big enough name known to the audience there at NXT, you're not cheering him just because you know him. You actually have to develop something for him, and that might be something they have to really do here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Aries and No Way Jose, that's going to be a really fun match. I'm looking forward to that one.
You guys talked to Angelo Dawkins. I feel bad for him. I really do. He become just a kind of a jobber on NXT. But on the other hand, I think he has a place. They've got to find it, and it's yet to be seen. But I think eventually they'll get to a place where they have a certain spot where he'd be effective and maybe get some victories in the near future. I hope so. He's a great talent. He's just got to get to that right place. The Bobby Roode thing. I think it's kind of interesting that he picks Almas, just because I get it. Almas is a young star when it comes to NXT. Everybody's still getting used to him. He's being being one of the best faces I guess they have right now when it comes to excitement, and one of those guys that you can actually get behind because you're like, oh, this guy is super cool. But on the other hand, I kind of don't know what to think about it because Bobby Roode, of course, if you're just an NXT fan, you may not know much about Bobby Roode unless you actually followed him at TNA. He's a guy that is a very good heel. He does a great job at it. I love him as a heel. Coming into this situation, he's awesome. But who's going to go over here? I mean, to me, I kind of feel like, oh man, Bobby Roode should win his debut match. So it's kind of funny to me that one of the biggest young faces is going to automatically lose a big match. I don't know. It's really kind of conflicts with me. I'm looking forward to the match because of those reasons, but on the other hand, I don't know who I think should win. That's kind of weird. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah, because Go ahead.
Almost is undefeated still, so if Roode does go over, they're going to hype the shit out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when they had Aries go through this, Baron Corbin was sort of already established, and he lost, and we found out what happened to him. He went to WWE the next night. So it wasn't that big a deal, whereas with Almas, you're losing to a guy that, let's be honest here, I know what Gary was talking about, but he is perceived as a bigger star than Almas because it's in that same area as TNA, and people know who Bobby Roode is. Mm-hmm. In a bigger quantity than they would know Almas. So, that's the thing is you're already putting Almas down the pecking order a bit. But there's also no rush to really get Almas going anywhere unless you're going to bring him up for the Cruiserweight division.
Mm-hmm.
So.
He's too big.
He's also too big. So, they would either have to lax on the 205 rule just to get him up there because he can compete with those guys, or you're going to really have to do some character stuff because that's the thing. You need to learn from Apollo Crews and not want to make that mistake again, where you bring up a guy who's just a guy, and now they're hoping and praying that they can do something with Apollo with this Intercontinental title feud with Miz. And Baron Corbin's sort of going through this thing a little bit too, even though he has that attitude about him, but he's also got a little bit of he's just kind of a guy. And they didn't do good enough with both of them about having characters, and you don't want to repeat this with Almas and with you got to be careful with Hideo too for him not to run in that problem of just He's Hideo, and he has nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I want to bring up a couple things really quickly about these two segments since we're talking about them right now. I want to bring up the fact that I think it was kind of funny, the announcers talking about Bobby Roode. They mentioned, I think the name of the COO or something like that. It seems like, from what I remember, they were kind of comparing Bobby Roode a little bit to Triple H, if I'm not wrong. I was trying to remember what exactly they said, but I remember kind of having that little light bulb when they said some things about Bobby Roode, kind of reminded me of the fact that maybe they thought that. And then the other thing was, during the Austin Aries thing, the whole segment with William Regal, I love the fact that he's sitting here naming all these ex-TNA stars as he's, having this conversation with William Regal. I loved it. It's like, oh, are we watching TNA again? No, we're not. We're watching NXT.
If they never have to mention EY again, it'll be too soon.
Oh, where has EY, man? Poor EY.
Man, I guess they sort of might have soured on him.
He's got
when you got Bobby Roode, what else do you need?
But
you still need some bodies to fill NXT.
And not when you've got the epitome of gloriousness on your roster. You're set for.
I mean, those glorious bombs just keep getting more and more awesome. So
12 out of 10 glorious bombs. That song is now my ringtone.
Is it really? Oh no.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Oh, it's great because I like the last one that I saw was like he shows up there and like Ciampa and Gargano like pleading with the camera like, oh my god, I hope he does the nod.
Have you seen the bathroom?
He does it. No, I have not done I've not seen the bathroom one.
All right.
It's awesome. Eric Young not being a part of NXT is a bummer because that's the best voice in wrestling. I love it. I love his voice.
Oh, he's worse than Seth when he first debuted. God, talk about someone that sounds like someone's grandma.
Oh wow. Gotta love it.
Just horrible, Eric Young. Whew. Just don't have him talk in that accent. Good. I mean, he can't help it.
I wish they still did the WWE albums, where they'd have people sing, Yeah. That'd be awesome to have Eric Young singing a song.
Could you imagine? Holy crap. Eric Young doing the... Oh. Talk about atrocity right there. But anyway, let's move on with this show. We do get the NXT Women's Title contract signing. Our buddy Chet here, we've had him on the football show. He's going to be on our NXT TakeOver review. He talks to me every week about what happens on NXT. That dude is a huge NXT fan. He told me that he felt that Bayley was really out of character here and it was weird. I liked that Bayley was out of character and that she didn't, shake Asuka's hand, and it showed her having some grit and some fire here. And I mean, Asuka probably said a little bit too much on the microphone because it got to the point where you couldn't understand what she was saying. But I thought this was Regal does a real good job with these contract signings. I always feel like they don't go on too long and they don't go into the hokey stuff that we see the WWE ones do.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. William Regal mastered these contract signings so far. I kind of can see where Chet's coming from, just because of the fact that we're so used to seeing Bayley, I would dare to say one of the biggest baby faces in WWE overall, not just NXT. I think overall in WWE in general. Yeah. And looking at her getting aggressive and kind of almost playing the part of a heel in a way, saying, "No, you're going to sign this contract if you want to." Blah 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 blah. Just the way she presented herself, all that, it was kind of different because we don't see that from her. We're used to just a sweet, Bayley. I don't know, just like the innocent little girl. But with her doing this, you kind of see that dual personality that we didn't know she had. So it is a little awkward, but it's very cool to see. I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say that I wanted to know what it would be like to have her with a stronger personality. So I don't think it's bad. I don't think any of this was really bad. I mean, totally, Sean, you're completely right. Asuka may have said a little too much. But besides that, it was fine.
I didn't have a problem with any of this. I thought Bayley was great. She has some character growth here, and that she really gets to show that losing the title and fighting Asuka has changed her to... Yeah, I mean, she's still that fun-loving girl, but, you know, she comes down to the ring and she's got purpose now, and she's pissed off, and she's ready to go toe-to-toe with Asuka, who's undefeated and pretty much can murder you with her feet. It's a big deal, and I really like the change personally. It helps you get any depth to character. And this is something the main roster misses out on a lot, is adding depth. It works so well here. I thought Asuka was fine. I mean, yeah, you get a little broken English here and there, but ultimately it's, you mess with me, I'm going to kill you dead. That's all you need. They could have subtitled that in. I would have been fine.
I could have seen him do that. I'm going to kill you dead in big letters. I would have been very happy to see that. And you never know. I mean, I don't know how long Bayley's going to be a part of NXT, but her showing this other side of her is really cool. And you never know. Maybe Asuka beats her, and Bayley's going to stick around in NXT for a little longer. Maybe you can have the broken Bayley show up. And
my God, Gary!
I'd mark.
Couldn't you see that streak in her hair? It'd be so different. You know?
Jesus.
That ponytail would really get crooked.
Please don't. That's one of those things that only works with Matt and Jeff Hardy. Doesn't work with anyone else. Let's just leave it there and not mention about it going somewhere else. But, they also have the Authors of Pain Squash, a team. That's to be expected. They look good. I did like that TM61 is out there trying to make the save, so I guess you got something going on with him. Maybe. Because it was thought at first that they were going to have something with American Alpha, but they kind of decided to just keep him there and not have him go in NXT at all again, which probably a better choice, honestly. And so then we get sort of more of these kind of warm-up matches. You get Billie Kay and Liv Morgan as your women's division match. I thought Liv Morgan got the show a little bit here. Head scissors, Hurricane Ranas, the typical stuff they kind of seem to be showing the women ever since like Kelly. That seems to be the thing that they do with the face women, is have them do moves like that. But Billie Kay, ever the veteran, winning again.
I'm a big fan of both of these girls. I think Liv she brings a lot of energy to the ring. You can't really undersell that. That helps a lot, especially for a babyface. Billie Kay, I'm a big fan. The whole package she has put together for her now is awesome, and I mean she damn near murdered her with a forearm, and she definitely murdered her with the Yakuza kick. So.
Yes, she did. I mean, and Gary, I just love Corey Graves just freaking out at the fact that, oh my God, Liv Morgan's from Jersey. I can't even think straight now because she's from Jersey. It's just.
For me personally, it helps that Carmella is no longer on this show. I think Liv Morgan can finally, showcase herself fully. Because I just kind of felt like their characters were a little bit too close. But now I think with them showcasing her in this way, and even though she did take the pinfall, I still think that she did get a little bit more here. And I've been really concerned because I thought, man, are they just having her here just to job out every time that they need someone to do that? Even though she lost, I still felt like she did a great job here and looked a lot better than usual. So I'm very happy with that. I'm like Paul, big fan of both of them.
Yeah. And then you also had a portion that's about Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's CWC match that was awesome, as we talked about last week. And you get a segment with William Regal where he kind of tells them, okay, well, guys, remember you got a tag team title match. Don't, make sure that y'all are still buddies. And they obviously still are, and they go in and show it against Patrick Clark and Tucker Knight. I will say, what I like about Patrick Clark is he has good facial expressions. Like, he really emotes very well. As when he's getting hurt, right then. I mean, Tucker Knight didn't do a whole lot here, but I thought Patrick Clark looked okay against veterans like these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun squash. Gargano and Ciampa work really well together. I like how their double team maneuvers have come together very quickly, even though it's mostly super kick knee. But, combo's a combo, and when it's murdery like that, I'll believe it every time.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks nasty. So.
Yeah.
Very much so. I enjoyed this. Once again, nothing just giant, amazing or anything, but it was good, definitely. I kind of wish that whole segment with William Regal would have went a little bit different. I mean, because it was a little boring in a way. I hate to say it that way. I know why they're doing it. For me, it was just like same old hat. I think they should have added something to it. Maybe have William Regal do something better than just be like, hey, I hope you guys are still buddies, blah, blah, blah. I wish you'd have said, you know what, guys, I know how it's, it's like, fighting with your mate and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to help you out here. And he's, gives him a coffee at Brokeback Mountain and says, get together, be positive,
I feel like if you're going to say be positive, you got to hand him a bowl of Bootios.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just saying, if he really wants them to be teammates here, just, make sure that they really are good friends, So Bootios would be delicious, though. I can't lie. I'm not sure I want to be paying $11 to eat it, but,
$12.
Is it $12?
Yes.
Oh, God.
So even more money.
Might as well just pay for the shirt.
Yeah, you might as well just get that shirt combo one. Well,
hold on. Well, do you think they'll ever sell the cheaper version of Bootios?
Apparently, they are going to eventually. I think it might have been an exclusive thing with FYE, and then they'll eventually put it into grocery stores if it sells well. I think it's just about getting the initial set sold and knowing there's a market there for it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I mean, there's a Mortal Kombat character that might be coming to NXT that we've seen a couple of times, but we finally get to see Ember Moon actually in sort of person. I'm excited to see her at the TakeOver next week.
Oh, man.
Yep. They had the date on there, May 20th, so she'll be at that TakeOver special. I'm really looking forward to this. Athena is an amazing athlete. I'm really looking forward to I think, I don't know who they're going to put her in the ring with, but hopefully somebody good.
I'm looking forward to it, too, don't get me wrong. But that wasn't the Mortal Kombat character I wanted to see. I was kind of hoping we'd see Glacier again, but okay.
God, don't we all, Gary? Don't we all?
I'm still waiting for them to have a reptile. But
wow. That's a throwback.
I mean, they could always, come up with Johnny Cage or something, but that's probably not happening. Look, we are not always the biggest fans of Mojo Rawley, but I thought that Mojo was good in this whole thing of he had the serious promo, came in, looked good at times against Joe, and then you had the really cool interaction with Nakamura where Nakamura just kind of grabs Joe's nose. And Joe is pissed and he's yelling Nakamura during the when he chokes Mojo out. I mean, just everything's so good here. And we still have a go-home show after this. I don't know what they're doing aside from this, but if that's the last time we see of these guys, I got no problem with it.
I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think my favorite thing about this show was actually Mojo Rawley's promo because he called Samoa Joe a fat 900-pound heavyweight. And I'm just thinking somewhere Scott Steiner is smiling, the biggest smile he can muster.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a fun match, though. Joe's really gone overboard here with the Nakamura selling, making sure everybody knows that the guy, every time he's in the ring with somebody, he's saying Nakamura, and I've been loving it. I think it's been great build to this main event.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really interesting. I'm glad that they had the continuity of having Mojo Rawley face off against Mojo. It makes complete sense. No gripes about that at all. Nakamura getting involved with Samoa Joe in that format is smart, but in a way, it's kind of like it's almost like Nakamura's playing the heel there because poor Joe is getting held back by 15 guys, and Nakamura is just slapping him around, whatever he wants to do to him, play with his face, do whatever. That's almost like a heel move in a way. Like
he stole his nose. There's no bigger heel move.
Exactly. My God, my daughter did that to me the other day. It took me 5 hours to find it, and I was just like, man. It's tough. So, I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I just kind of thought it was funny because I'm like thinking it's like a reverse roles. Don't you think that Joe would be getting more of the heat? But it was fun. It was great.
Yeah, I want to see Joe trying to take Nakamura's nose. How well that would go.
Yeah. He would probably actually take his nose and eat it or something. That's what Samoans do, right?
Oh, man. Oh. I don't want them coming to my house and be taking me for that, so I won't say that. Yeah, I know. That is funny, though.
Yeah, that's NXT.
Yeah, that's and a fun episode. Don't get me wrong. I kind of joked a little bit about it, but yeah, they had some good stuff on here, and definitely go check it out if you haven't watched it yet. Now we got some Cruiserweight Classic to talk about. That's right, guys. We are here once again. This is the second round of the Cruiserweight Classic. We'll get into that right after this.
All right, so Cruiserweight Classic time. Only 2 matches on this show, which is good because the matches are going to go longer, but also it's kind of tips your hat as to the fact that the matches are going to be longer, probably, because when one match, okay, you've only got 20 minutes left. Oh, all right, we're just fitting. It's only going to be the guys that have come this far, and I guess when they have that finals, and we might see everybody back again or whatever, or might see only the ones that got signed or whatnot, whatever they're going to be doing. But I did like the fact that the video packages kind of showcase the story they're trying to tell with each match. You got the young guy versus the old guy in a Grand Metalik versus Tajiri match that I thought was actually very good, and even though it was a bit slow at times, because Tajiri's older, you still got to see that difference between the two guys, and Metalik wins. What do you guys think?
I really enjoyed this match a lot, and so much so I think Larry undersold it. He gave it 3. I would say it's definitely worth 3.5.
That's where I thought it was too.
The opening groundwork is incredible. The guys trade holds, and it's seamless, absolutely seamless from hold to hold. Smooth, the whole, it's incredible. And then when they turn up the pace, it's all about trying to outsmart the other guy, and Metalik is, he's jumping off the ropes at every angle, and Tajiri's just happy to score his moves where he can, and absolutely murders him with a buzzsaw kick that I thought was going to be it, but Metalik ends up finding ways out of things, and finally works in the Metalik driver, and I loved this match. I thought it was super good.
Yeah, it was really well done. I really appreciated it. Daniel Bryan kind of told the story as this went, and that's what's great about the Cruiserweight Classic. These guys, Mauro Ranallo, Daniel Bryan, doing an excellent job with the action. But I love Daniel Bryan pointing out the obvious, and it's something to really pay attention to, is the fact that we got Tajiri, a guy that's definitely a veteran, a guy that's not as quick as he used to be, outsmarting Metalik at times, knowing what to do where Metalik may be a step behind. But on the other hand, the athleticism, whatever Metalik can do, he's doing to take advantage because, that's what he can do. So I love it, and they did a great job in telling that story throughout the entire match. And, you thought at times, man, Tajiri is going to pull this off. He's going to do it again, but Metalik comes through and finds a way to get a victory here. So I really enjoy this as well.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the Mauro and Bryan commentary stuff. Mauro is so on point with all the Japanese calls. mentions Tajiri owning Smash, which was one of my favorite promotions for a long time. So hats off to Mauro for that. And he keeps mentioning but they both work the lucha style and they both work the strong style, and they know each other a little bit. That was really, really cool. It's the nice touches like that you don't get everywhere else, and these guys knocked that out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he also mentioned that I think Tajiri actually beat Metalik for a title in CMLLs. They actually mentioned CMLL this time. Last time they kind of just called it the oldest promotion in the world or whatever. So it goes back to the whole, which you'll get with Cedric and Kota Ibushi, is as long as you've never worked in ROH or TNA, they will mention the crap out of you. So it's fine, But, this match was really good. And we go on to, wow, you thought the Gargano and Ciampa match last week was great. This match outdid that match. And then they left in the part that we had heard about with Cedric getting a standing ovation at the end, and them chanting, "Please sign Cedric." I think that was more Triple H wanting him to get off the stage than actually sort of giving him a, "Hey, dude, you did a great job" thing. But this match was awesome. Just so much good stuff. I love the fact that they played in the whole Ibushi missing the triangle moonsault, which he hardly ever does, and then him having to hit it differently later. That was really good. And, Ibushi wins, but man, they had some crazy stuff in here.
And the great thing about this match is that even though Ibushi wins, Cedric gets the majority of time to really show off what he can do. You get the crazy amount of athleticism this guy has. The chops and just the striking in this was over 12 out of 10 off the charts. And I mean, my God, I surely thought somebody was going to end up with a concussion by the end of this. It was insane how hard these guys were hitting each other. The big German, Cedric constantly fighting out of the Golden Star Powerbomb. This was absolutely amazing. If you haven't watched this yet, find a way to watch it. It is a surefire match of the year candidate. And if we hadn't just watched a 5-star match earlier this month, it would totally be in the running for match of the month.
Oh, yeah. For certain. I mean, this is everything you want it to be. Cedric Alexander is just an excellent talent. I mean, if you didn't believe in him or you really don't know much about him, you get a lot of chances to see in this match alone to see what he's able to do, the skills that he has, and I'm just excited to actually see it on WWE TV, if you want to say it that way. So this is really cool. Kota Ibushi, we all know what you get with him. It's usually always pretty awesome. I think they did an excellent job here. We all, kind of understand, usually the Cruiserweight Classic's last match is the best. Definitely probably the better match, but, I mean, you can't undersell the first match they had. So
No.
I think that, we got two excellent matches on this card, even though this second one may have been a little bit better, but I loved it. And I got to point out, too, even though the Alexander lost, I really feel like he didn't lose anything. I think, you guys may agree with me on that. I think he proved a lot here, and, of course, it proved with the crowd. I mean, the crowd was going nuts for Alexander. In fact, they, kept chanting, sign him, and then when Triple H came out at the end, they loved it. So it was good stuff overall.
He was crying, too. It's a moment. WWE talks about making moments. You just made a moment with that guy. You're going to remember that more than the match at times later. You're going to remember that, him shaking his hand and going, well, that was the start.
Mm-hmm. The sly thumbs up, too. Don't worry, guys. Yeah. I'm taking care of it.
Yeah. You got to love that. So it was good,
Yeah.
So.
It really was. And so we get Akira Tozawa and Jack Gallagher next week. And Akira Tozawa challenging for the Dragon Gate Open the Dream Gate Championship. Might be his last Dragon Gate show on September 22nd, and he might start with WWE after that. So, hopefully, if you're a big WWE fan, you're seeing him after that. And Noam Dar hopefully getting to redeem himself after the sort of bad match he had previously, but, having Ho-Ho Loon, maybe not the best opponent either. And Brian Kendrick and Tony Nese, that should be a lot of fun. So, some fun matches next week.
Yeah, Tozawa and Gallagher is going to be something special, I think. Noam Dar and Ho Ho Lun just seems very ho-hum to me. And Brian Kendrick and Tony Nese, that actually might be a very WWE style match. So that'll be one to look out for, too.
Yeah, so great stuff coming out of the Cruiserweight Classic. Of course, we'll be covering it next week when we get more action from them. But now we are going to head on over and talk some TNA Impact. That's right, guys. We got some big stuff going because one of these wrestlers on the roster is trying to get gold once again. We know it's Olympic season, right? Well, guess what? He's trying to get more gold, All right, we'll be right back with that next.
I don't know why I cannot. There it is. Well, here comes TNA Impact Wrestling. A lot more talking on this show than there was necessarily wrestling, which doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but I did see people complaining about that a bit in the thread that we had in the Wrestling Max Facebook group, which you can go join. Cheap plug. So EC3 has his moment here talking to the fans. I know it's his thing, and I don't want to say things about your dude here, Paul, but I'd much rather you're the face, just soak in the cheers and the chants, and you don't need to do the little thing you did as a heel, because that doesn't make me cheer you more. It just makes me annoyed. I guess that's his thing too, sort of, but, whatever. They have James Storm and Lashley and Eddie Edwards come out here, and Mike Bennett and Moose. Just everybody's going to be involved in this show. It seems like comes out this beginning segment.
Yeah, they set it up. EC3 can do no wrong, especially because he hauls me around once a week in a limo, and God love him for that. But man, EC3 is going to be EC3, and haters going to hate, Sean. So
how did I know he was going to do that?
There hasn't been a large shift in character from EC3 since the heel turn or from being a heel to being a face. He's still just EC3, and maybe that's not for the best at this moment in time, especially when Lashley is by far your top heel. So maybe you want to act a bit more face, but I was still overall fine with all this. Everybody else coming out and sort of setting up the rest of the show was fine too. I'm with Larry on this one. I really wish they would open with a match more often.
Yeah, because you see it in WWE now, doing it on both shows all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have something that sets you apart. But we had people that don't watch TNA very often, and again, they're making those comparisons to WWE Light, and you don't want that comparison. You just don't. And it goes right into the tag match. Another also WWE, very, very WWE thing. This was pretty good. You had, this is the one where Bennett tagged himself back in or whatever to get the pin. But yeah, so his team wins. Mm-hmm. After Moose is the one that does a lot of the work.
Which he was not pleased with. Not pleased with at all. I thought this match was fine. It's nothing overly special. Working this new dynamic you have with Bennett and Moose is obviously still a question mark about what exactly he's going to do here in TNA. EC3 and Eddie Edwards pretty solidly where they're going to be, and they work the feud that they've been working for a while, and that's been in EC3.
Yeah, And before I get into this match itself, I just want to know, how did Paul get so lucky in getting EC3 to drive him around in a limo when I just have Mandrews driving me around in a Corolla? So jealous.
Network better, Gary.
I need to. Yeah. I could at least get Rockstar.
You're better friends, Gary.
I know. Sad. But it's one of those situations watching this tag match. It's okay. Nothing great. Nothing out of the ordinary. I like the dynamic though of having Moose kind of question Bennett and that whole thing, because I think it's nice that Bennett and him are together, but I think eventually this has got to round out where Moose is on his own doing his own thing. Bennett's great and all, but I think Bennett can kind of do his own thing as well. So, I don't know if I'm so big on it.
Yeah, that seems like we're heading to a Moose face turn, which makes sense because that you're going to make your money with Moose, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully they don't rush it, because it's all about long tail. You could do long tail with this, and it wouldn't hurt anything. I'm going to skip over some things here just to kind of give it a bigger spotlight later. You get this never-ending Maria and Gail Kim thing. Really, Gail Kim feel like just being everything's going against her. Again, I appreciate the fact that they're doing a story here with the knockouts, but these matches are just so blah. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just not in with the knockouts right now.
I feel terrible every week saying that. I say exactly what you're saying, Sean. I'm not into it, and I want to be. I really do, and especially with the new talent that they have, you would think I'd be totally game, but it's just not interesting. And they try this week. I think they did maybe a little better job than usual, but still nothing that makes me go, yay, I want to pay attention. I mean, I'm still getting vanilla wafers when, man, I just want something better.
Yeah, I mean go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, if I didn't have to watch this live, this would be the segment that I would fast forward.
It would be hard to deny you that, because this is, Gail Kim and Marty Bell have a very bland match, but Marty Bell isn't the greatest of wrestlers that they have either. So, I do like what they're doing with Ali, though. They're slowly teasing this face turn, which, if the cards are to be read correctly here, Gail Kim and Maria will finally have their big match at Bound for Glory, where Ali can make the face turn and make Maria actually face Gail Kim. So that'll be a really cool moment for her.
Hopefully that works and it comes off well, because the way they've done this.
It's not on too long.
Right, yeah, and thankfully, sorry, I got messages from people all of a sudden randomly. I really hope that this works out and it really kind of gets some fire back into this. And hopefully Jade and Gil Kim put on a good match next week, because, man, they really need it. They need something to make you really care about the women on the show. Maria is just... She's doing Maria things, but she's fine. Just, I don't know.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing every week.
Exactly. It's something that I don't mind being the same thing. Or, well, let me get out before we get to that. Galloway cutting a promo saying he wants EC3 to put his BFG title shot on the line in a one-on-one match. Because they didn't get to face each other in that BFG deal. Do you like this? They've been teasing this Drew Galloway EC3 thing. It seems like only fair that we have a match before we get to Bound for Glory.
Makes sense to me.
It does. The only thing I'm going to complain about here, and this sounds stupid, but I get kind of tired of the Wambulance. I really am. I just kind of feel like Galloway is just whining all the time now. I used to really like him, but it's like the way they've got him going in this direction, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of annoyed.
I mean, I think Drew Galloway, from where he stands, at least in this, has a legitimate gripe, and he's not just weighing about it. Like EC3 happened to have cost him a couple of matches, and it's true.
No, it is true, and I completely agree with that. Maybe I'm just not into it. I don't know. I want to see the match. Trust me, this is a smart match to have. I don't. I'm not going to complain about that. I just am not a big fan of him coming out there and having a ton of time just to talk. I really wish he'd have cut it shorter. I'd been a little happier.
I mean, with the new talent that they have coming in for the main event scene, it feels like a heel turn is in the works for Galloway now, so they can have somebody else work Moose or the gentleman we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I mean, then let's go ahead and get into that gentleman. The former Damien Sandow made his debut, as we noted on the Tuesday morning show that he would debut. And he, did some veiled shots at WWE. I thought he did it. I thought this was a really good promo. Just, I was expecting this kind of thing. I thought he did a really good job. I liked the, I never really actually tested my IQ. That was just part of the gimmick. Like, that was the best one to me. It wasn't all the shots at WWE or whatever. I thought that was the best one. Like, you actually got to learn about, that was all gimmick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I thought he was fine here. It's your traditional post-WWE, now I'm in TNA promo. But he has a delivery and a fire to it that I think really comes off well. Same as he did in WWE. He has a great energy and poise to him that when he gives a promo, it's something you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, this was fine. I really kind of questioned it. It was kind of surprising that he would come out and kind of maybe push those buttons a little bit, only because, I figured that if this guy wants to stay in wrestling and really do it as a full-time job, I thought he was kind of getting away from wrestling, but maybe not just yet, that he would kind of go there. I mean, yes, it's happened before. WWE talent comes to TNA, does these type of promos, but I'm a little bit more surprised about, Aaron doing this because of the fact that, I think he was one of those bubble guys that I could totally see coming back in the not too long future. So I think this is a good speech, though, a good promo, for him to come out and cut and just get not only the fans excited about seeing him, but kind of give them in-depth coverage of what he feels and how it almost really does feel in a way. So I like that. It's kind of cool to see this. But on the other hand, I'm still surprised he pushed some of those buttons.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there. I mean, it is. I like the thing on Twitter that I saw that was like, oh, so they stopped paying you and now TNA started paying you. That's how this works. Okay. Like, just, it's almost like, I'm just, that's why you're here. It's not because, anything else. But I don't necessarily like I get that his whole deal is that WWE never gave him a world title shot thing. I'm just not one of those that's big on, an ex-WWE guy comes, let's put him sort of in the title picture already. Like, I'm not a big fan of that. I think you kind of need to build them up a bit. You did get crowd reactions here, which is good. It obviously helps it was the first one of the set of tapings, so let's see what happens when you get further down the line and these crowds are tired or you have different crowds or whatever. But I did notice that Josh Matthews mentioned Ryback by his real name. So maybe they've already sort of had some contact or anything. We don't know. But will be interesting. He mentioned Cody Rhodes as well. So don't know if he's putting that name out there to try to see if he can get him to sign or whatever. But maybe more ex-WWE people. It'll just be the ex-WWE people, like, bum rush by TNA. Again.
Maybe. But, I mean, we've seen him do EC3, if they can turn these guys around, Lashley's another great example. There's stars waiting to be made in these guys that they have.
Yeah, certainly. Like all the guys that are there right now, it's much different than previously when they would go sign a bunch of WWE guys, it's guys that obviously have potential, but WWE just didn't release that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope that happens. I mean, you like his name too, Aaron Rex?
I'm not a fan of the spelling, but
it's interesting. It's like anything else. It's going to take it to getting used to. But it's not a bad name.
Yeah, I mean, so the Brother Nero and Broken Matt Hardy thing continues on the show. They had quite a few segments for this. Of course, they bring up the whole Matt still being mad at Brother Nero, for him getting hurt. Apparently, the Decay tried to kidnap King Maxwell, so they added some story there. I appreciated that, and he had to send Vanguard 1 home to protect the Hardy compound. That was great. And yeah, I mean, you get the supposed to be tag match. What a way to make the jobbers look like jobbers, though. But yeah, Jeff Hardy just goes absolutely nuts, and then he puts himself through the table and goes nuts and accepts that he is Brother Nero. So now he's broken Brother Nero. So now they're both broken, guys. Oh my God. The world can't contain 2 broken Hardys.
oh boy, I guess it takes crazy to fight crazy when you're going up against the Decay, but wow, this is going to be something really special, guys.
It's either you really like it or this has totally jumped to shark feet now. So,
this could definitely end up very weird. I almost have a little bit of fear that maybe we're going to see, Jeff Hardy come out in half Willow, half Jeff Hardy look.
actually, that'd be cool.
I mean, just because, he's broken, maybe he can't control the other part of himself,
He just randomly breaks into doing the Willow laugh thing.
Yeah.
The scream.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did decide to do that, Of course, we saw it during, the deletion. Where Willow would show up and make appearances, so why not here too? I actually kind of like this. Surprisingly enough, I'm looking forward to seeing broken Jeff Hardy, or Brother Nero, what do you want to call him? Brother Nero is fun even when he's kind of defeated, but he's also a very interesting character when he's broken, just like broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah, what do you guys think about them maybe pulling a Lucha Underground and Bram might be actually dead?
So I mean, Rosemary is essentially a witch, right? So I assume we're gonna get Zombie Bram, who's her lover.
Ooh.
Like that has to be where this is going, right?
Oh man! If the ratings keep going down for TNA, there'll be a in this direction. I don't know. Every week since they moved, the ratings have gone down. So, same thing for WWE, honestly, since the draft. But this is to be interesting if they really go this route. They just go all out with this stuff. I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate them really trying to find things that make them stand out. But like, man, zombie Bram or just dead Bram, just awesome.
Imagine the necrophilia.
Necrophilia.
Looking at
you
this,
want to see on TNA TV or something?
I'm just saying. I'm just thinking about the whole Katie Vick thing. They'll just redo that. Just it's a guy dead instead of. But anyway, getting past that, I want to say this. I was a little aggravated because I think their promo was fine. Nothing wrong with it. They had to have had a better location. You could hear audibly in the background people talking as if this is just filmed backstage. Like they knelt down behind something and did this. Come on, tell the people to shut up behind you. I'm sorry, it just took me away from the whole feeling of it being
it's the
crazy.
TNA production value.
I know, but come on, guys. I mean, you can tell somebody to be quiet for... Give me 3 minutes, okay, guys? Thanks, okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that by the time this show was over, I'm surprised that Paul is still with us because we had to see a lot of James Storm on this show. And I was wondering the whole time, like, I wonder how Paul feels about it being James Storm Central on this episode of Impact. I thought the videos were really good. I know, we rag on James Storm here. We talk about him necessarily, just kind of being there, whatever. But these videos really brought out the whole that he really wants this. And this is something that meant so much to him the first time he won it and everything else. And then, of course, you go out and you have this match. I thought it was a very good match. The only thing I have a problem with is, why are you having Storm do so many last calls and then Lashley kicks out? Like, there is a point where, you don't want to kill somebody's finish. Mm. But that's the only gripe I have. Other than that, this was a really good match, and Lashley wins. Now he holds all the singles titles. I mean, I know you don't like him, Paul, but I think you might have to give him his props here.
No, this is a good match, but if you got to kill somebody's finish, it might as well be James Storm. I mean, whatever. It's only a super kick.
Oh,
poor guy.
And Lashley's a beast. So, I mean, ultimately, this is building up to whoever manages to beat Lashley is going to get a hell of a rub. And whether it's EC3 or whether it's Moose or whether it's whoever down the road, they're going to get one hell of a rub.
Yeah.
That's all this really showed me. And this is a very good match. I think they did a good job throughout the show building up at least how much James Storm not only meant to TNA, but how much he really wants to be that guy for TNA despite everything else that's been going on with him. So this is a good match. It was a great main event. Lashley's awesome. Keep on rolling with it, TNA.
Yeah, they did a great job with the video packages. That was enjoyable. If you like James Storm, which I honestly kind of skipped through them because you can only hear the same stuff over and over again so many times. But that's fine. But, we're getting the match good, very good. But, I'm still stuck on that whole thing, the whole super kick party that he was throwing. I felt bad for him. The last call is his thing, and for him to do 2 in a row and still Lashley kicks out, I mean, I guess he hasn't learned the proper way to do it. I mean, you've got to do, super kick, suck it, super kick, suck it. Once you do that,
right.
that puts your opponents down for the 1, 2, 3. That was what he missed. I feel bad for the guy, but, it just wasn't too sweet for him tonight. So
it's all fair points. Clearly, James Storm needs to watch more Young Buck matches.
Agreed. Totally. If you're going to use super kick and you're going to throw a super kick party, do it like the professionals do it.
It's true. I mean, they only had an app named after it. So
exactly, and it was only $2. Because they're $2, you get.
All right, guys.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just love that. Anyway. Moving on, though, we have something else to talk about. That's right. We have the G1 Climax to get into, guys. We are going to be right back with that. And don't forget, after that, we're crowning a Superstar of the Week. Let's talk some New Japan.
Well, this is the last G1 show before we get into the slew of 3 straight G1 shows leading up to the final. That third G1 show includes the final, but I think you guys know what I mean. Friday, Saturday, Sunday G1 shows, and that's it. The G1 Climax is over. We'll have a G1 winner and everything else. So this is the last B-Block show before you get into those shows. And this was a damn good night of G1 action, actually. Just almost every match other than, Yano doing his thing. You had Omega and Nakajima going at it here. And this was really good. Enjoyed the crap out of this. Omega win. I mean, kind of who was going to win. But I thought they did a great job of selling you on the other guys could win.
This one I thought might have been a bit more up in the air just because of how they've been treating Nakajima throughout this tournament. He has his moments too, a couple PKs. Yeah, and then someone when they go back and forth a lot, and it's really good. It's it's one of those G1 sprints that have become sort of famous these days, but a lot of good storytelling. I think Omega sold Nakajima's hits very well. And he gets one with the one-winged angel, and it's a good match. It's a really good match.
As I suspected on the previous G1 show that we did, which I apologize if you listened to 411 and I forgot to post that one. The nights 14 through 15. If you go on our SoundCloud or YouTube or wherever other things that we have it on, you can listen to it there. Yano loses to Evil, doing his shenanigans, but he does lose, thankfully.
Yeah, 3 minutes, typical Toru Yano match. Evil wins with the STO. Right along.
You get Yoshihashi and Tetsuya Naito in a freaking great match here with these two. Again, like every time it's been Los Ingobernables and Chaos, these do not fail to deliver, and this one has been fantastic, and love the fact that Yoshihashi got to look competitive with Naito.
Yeah, I mean, it's the G1. Yoshihashi has been on fire tournament, and they've really built this up into making it look like Yoshi might have a chance to beat Naito, who's almost the conquering hero at this point in New Japan, and they go back and forth. These guys work a really similar style too, which helps. That's sort of junior heavyweight, but with a heavyweight flair style to it. And God, this was so great, beginning to end. Really well told story. I mean, Yoshihashi was incredible. And you want to talk about somebody who's done the most work in 1 year to turn around people's opinions on him? It's been Yoshi.
Yes, tacos for life, guys. Definitely, if you have not been into Yoshihashi at all, just watch this G1. The dude will change your mind. And if he doesn't, I don't know what you're watching. We get the rematch of a feud that had been going on for a little bit between Katsuyori Shibata and Yuji Nagata. Of course, Shibata ended up winning that feud. He ends up winning this match as well. I mean, sort of, again, Nagata's at that point where he's sort of breaking down, and he has some issues there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting more and more obvious that he's running out of gas in the tank as far as what he's got left in him for the G1. And, you hit the usual spots. Maybe they shouldn't have gone the 12 minutes that they did, but, Shibata wins. That's really all you need at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then you get your main event, which is Tomoaki Honma against Michael Elgin. Elgin wins to keep things the same going into that last C-Block match. But my God, this is the Honma. This is the Honma that we've been waiting the entire G1 to see right here. And let it be known that Michael Elgin's the one that gets it out of him. Again, another guy that he needs to be in your top 3. If he's not, I don't know what you're watching again. But, geez, this crowd was nuts for wanting Honma to win so bad. Oh, great stuff. I mean, here.
Elgin seemed hell-bent on trying to kill poor Honma here. I mean, frickin' powerbomb into the turnbuckle post, a frickin' Death Valley driver on the outside, Falcon Arrow, Super Falcon Arrow, Elgin bomb. But Honma should be dead. That's where I'm at right now. No, but this is great. This is a great brawl. These two really go out there. They put on a terrific main event, and something absolutely worth your time to go check down and watch.
So, and before we get into the first that A Block show, which includes some fantastic matches that you're going to get to see on this Friday show, including Tanahashi versus Okada. The final B Block standings before you get into that show: Naito still sitting by himself on 12 points. Elgin, Omega, Shibata all on 10. Nakajima, Yano, Nagata, Yoshihashi, Evil, and Honma all eliminated. But Nakajima will at least finish with 8 points, and so will Yano. So the Nova guys all look good. technically, unless you get 10 points, it's sort of considered a negative, supposedly. But Nakajima Yano at least have 8. Marufuji's going to finish with more than that. So, the Noah contingent or Noah champions or whatever you want to call it look good in this tournament. So that's good. And hopefully Yoshihashi gets up to that 8 points and beats Yano. But I hope he does. I just wanted to get at least to that level.
It would be cool to have one of those moments where somebody gets to out Yano and it's Yoshihashi. I think that'd be a really great way to put him over at the end. I think Nakajima's got Evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he could win that to get to 10. Because Evil at 3.
No, Nakajima has. Evil has. He does. Never mind. No, Evil has Shibata.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
That'll be good too.
It's Nakajima and Elgin.
Okay. Oh, good God.
Which that could happen because it depends on how they do how they structure it. Obviously, because Omega has to have Elgin lose.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he wins, Elgin has to lose in order for him to go on and win. So it just depends on where they place this, what matches they put before it. You'd imagine that Omega and Naito is the last match. So will they make it to where you think that they would make it to where Omega would have the ultimate chance that if he beats Naito, he goes. So Nakajima maybe does wind up with 10.
Yeah, I mean, Nakajima beating Elgin could lead to an IC title match, too, down the road, which, I mean, somebody has to live through that match, first of all, because that's a strong possibility that somebody could die there, but Jesus. But yeah, I mean, it's really, those top 4 guys, it's anybody's ball game there, and they have some fun to play with in the booking on that last night. Same in Blockade.
Right, and it seems so, the Evil Shibata just seems so built for Evil to beat Shibata.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not having a never feud there, then I don't know what you're doing in Japan. But
well, plus that feud that Naito has with Shibata and Evil being his compatriot there in LIJ, getting to sort of knock him out to continue that thing. So it's just so much story there. I really enjoy this as far as how that goes. And in case you haven't been listening to our extras and you only listen to this for some reason, you have. Was it Fale, Marufuji, Okada, Tanahashi, and Goto all on 10 points on that show? For the first show you're going to be able to watch. That's going to be so interesting how they parcel that out as far as all the different ways you could have it done. I'm still going Tana, but man, Marufuji could sneak in there.
I think it seems tailor-made for Tana at this point, and Tanahashi beating Okada creates a lot of questions going forward as what you're going to do with the booking. Because obviously Okada had the big win back at Wrestle Kingdom this year over Tanahashi to get him back where he is now before he lost Naito and then won it back. So questions about who the ace really is, I think, if Tanahashi goes over.
Yeah, and then you also got the thing of, man, do you want him to have 4 title challengers and 4 losses as champion in the G1? That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you have like 2, maybe 3, and you already have that, unless you just don't have Marufuji get his title shot, which I think would be total robbery considering how good he's been in this G1. But even then, it's still 4 losses, and could they do the draw again? That's always the possibility.
A draw would be very interesting, too, especially one that high profile in a main event. I don't know if you're brave enough to do that one. Especially in sumo.
Marufuji would go through.
Yeah.
I think as long as... Well, I think Fale beat Marufuji, right? So Fale has to lose. Goto... The Goto match, I don't know if that would matter or not. But I think Goto
got Tamatonga in that last night too, which I think both you and I said he would probably win.
Yeah, that match seems tailor-made for Tamatonga to get the big upset. That's just total ghetto booking there for him to get that. But yeah, it looks like we'll still get our Tanahashi Naito final. But man, they have made this really, really interesting, and I really enjoy the fact that we're going out of these last 2 shows, and it's going to be awesome to watch. So, yeah, I'll have written reviews, and of course on Saturday we'll have our thoughts on the Friday and Saturday shows, and then Sunday we'll have our extra for the G1 final, and then starts the week of death. So,
yeah.
Oh, can you hear the bell toll? I can hear it already. You know,
I hear the rain that's coming down, pouring on my apartment here. But yeah.
Oh, at least you're still on.
We'd kill for some rain here, I tell you that much.
Oh, you're telling me. Oh, God. I'd beg for it. But anyway, while me and Paul dream about rain, we are going to move on and talk some Superstar of the Week. That's right, we got one to crown this week, guys. We'll be right back with that next. All right. Let's do this thing. All right. With 1 point this week, we have Rusev. What do you think about that? Retain the U.S. title.
Retains U.S. title over Cesaro. Pretty fun main event there. And then we got the build-up going towards whatever they're going to do with the belt at SummerSlam still. So good stuff there.
And with 2 points, we got Kota Ibushi here.
Yeah, that match we talked about was freaking great, and he totally deserved it because he won. He continued on the tournament.
That's right. So there you go. And we got 3 points going to Ishii, Paul. Wow.
Yeah, 3 points to Tomohiro Ishii. The big win over Okada on Saturday in what is essentially a 5-star match if I've ever seen one. That extra that me and Sean did for that show, you get to hear me and him mark out for like 5 minutes about how amazing Ishii is in that match. 3 points almost seems short, but when you got the top 2 guys doing as well they did this week, it's hard to put them any higher.
And we got 4 points going over to Jay Lethal. Wow, that's good.
Yeah, Jay Lethal, this is not one of those. I did not watch ROH for that week, but I mean, you guys were telling me it was a really good match, and keeping that title still.
Yeah, definitely. And Paul, you point out we still gave Jay Lethal 4 points, despite the fact that Ring of Honor decided to have tons of commercial breaks during this good match.
Yeah, some ill-timed commercial breaks that really probably took away from a match that was north of the 4-star mark. But with the commercials and the way they cut it is about 3 3/4 in my opinion. But it's still amazing. It's still a title defense against Colt Cabana. I have to find a way to track down that entire match without commercials because it seems like one that's worth your time.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I hope we'd all get a chance to watch it. And, of course, we got 5 points in our Superstar of the Week going to, drumroll. All right, here it is, guys. Guess what? TNA's own Bobby Lashley gets it. That's right. Now he has 3 titles, now adding in this title that I really don't care for personally. But still, it's a title, right? So there you go. King of the, Top of the Mountain, whatever the heck it is. I don't even care about it. I don't even know the name of it, Paul.
King of the Mountain. King of the Mountain.
King of the Mountain, whatever. I hate that title. But he still won it. So good congratulations to him.
Yeah, Bobby's got all the singles gold in TNA. He looks like $1 million. He beats you up like he's worth $1 million. This guy has been absolutely incredible this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely done a great job. I mean, it seems like we're talking about him more and more, Sean, compared to what we were. Drew Galloway was the big one. Now, all of a sudden, Bobby Lashley, he's catching up some ground here.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of those where if you're not doing a whole lot for a while, there's going to be somebody who's going to catch up to you because there's always somebody doing something great. And if it's best to continue to be Bobby Lashley, who's just been consistently great for a while, like Galloway was earlier in the year, or at least even a few months ago, it's going to happen. But the amazing thing is that we have so much TNA on here, so that should tell you people that are not watching TNA, maybe as a show itself, you find things to hate about it, but there's so much good things happening that consistently these guys are doing great stuff.
Definitely. I totally agree with that. So, All right, guys. Well, that rounds out our show. We've had a lot of great stuff to talk about, some great stuff to really get into in-depth conversation-wise. But we've got to leave everybody today. We've got some other great shows coming up next week. You don't want to miss a minute of the action. It is going to be a week long of great content, but trust me, it's going to be very weary for us souls who have to try to get through everything and cover everything. It's going to be a busy week, but we're looking forward to it. We can't wait to cover it all.
So let's break this down for the people. Let's break this down to people.
Okay,
You know,
go ahead.
You get Sunday. You get the G1 final extra with Paul and I, and possibly Tom Reese, of course, helping us out on that. Unfortunately, we do these things sometimes really late, and he can't be there. But since Sunday, that's all we're doing. Hopefully we can get him to be on that. And then Monday, of course, you get the Monday Night Raw review, and you get the W2M Part 1, Episode 208, and then you get SmackDown review as well with Paul and I, and maybe we can convince Gary to be on that. And we get Wednesday, we take a break. Thursday, you get the regular W2M episode, which includes all the things you heard today, just the next week of it. And we'll also have a SummerSlam preview, TakeOver preview. We might have to do the ROH preview on the Monday show because it's usually when we talk about ROH and because that show is on Friday. And then Saturday, we'll have NXT TakeOver Brooklyn and the ROH Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view review. And then Sunday, SummerSlam and the Super J Cup final show. And then we don't get to take a break because the next week, Monday and Tuesday, we're still back at it. So we don't get another break until Wednesday of the next week.
Oh, boy.
Oh. Just
Yeah.
death, guys.
It's going to be, a lot of great stuff coming out of all the content you just heard. But once again, it's going to be,
Seriously, we just need to have our own radio station.
Yeah, basically.
We need to have our own, Wait, we do. We have our own.
The W2M Network. Thank you. You let us into our own radio station. That's right. The W2M Network has a lot of other great content you can get a chance to hear if you ever go subscribe to it. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. And I know you're already enjoying all the great action coming out of that. We are not only have wrestling on there, we have football podcasts. We also have some, a podcast that's really about entertainment and social commentary. So really, this whole network really revolves around different things, not besides wrestling. But we have plenty of wrestling content. If you're a big fan of wrestling, trust me, you don't want to miss any of it. So go subscribe if you haven't subscribed to that. Also, Sean mentioned it earlier, but hey, we have that Wrestling to the Max Facebook group. If you're not a part of that, you need to join it because you're going to get all the great action in the world of wrestling right there, centered. People are on there 24/7 talking, discussing wrestling. If you're a big fan of wrestling, it's the place to be, trust me. Also, we also want you to know that, hey, you can also contact us if you ever want to. We all do social media here. We even have an email address if you ever wanted to go to that. It's wrestlingtothemax@gmail.com. That's a place that if you ever have any questions, you can always shoot a email over that way. Also, we have our own Twitters. I'm at W2M Gary. We got at W2M Sean, and of course at Hell to the Chimp 7, right, Paul?
Nailed it.
Ah, great. And of course, if anybody needs anything else, just hit us up. We're always available to answer any questions, and we've got some big stuff coming your way in the near future. So you always want to be in the loop. Go join all those things I told you to join. All right, guys. Well, we are done here. We can't wait to catch you guys on the next show we do. But anyway, besides that, we're out of here. So for myself, for Sean, for Paul, if you're not living life to the max,
Not living life at all.
You know it.
Please.
Later.